Jasper is here. Halloween's around the corner, and I decided to be the friendly ghost for LSRTV tonight. No, unfortunately, I have a light bulb out, and I didn't notice it until we came live on the air. And if I do anything more than this is what it looks like. So pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I always wanted to say that. Welcome to coverage of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series. It is on LSRTV. I'm trying to lighten up your life a little better. I am Wesley Outland. Joined alongside is Samuel Dyer. And look who's back. Greg, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? How's it going? Good to be back. Missed you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, we missed
definitely.
you, Greg.
So, we have. Well, I'll tell you what, Samuel, before we go any further and throw it back to Greg, the playoffs continue. I feel like I got a second man behind me. I will fix this by Wednesday, people. I promise you. But anyhow, we have look at this, Samuel. Hey, listen, playoffs round one, road course racing. What was your take of what we saw, and what do you think we're going to see here tonight? Back at Indy, but it is on the big speedway.
Yeah, I mean, last week we got to see the road course racing where we got to see that of Kevin Smith looking like the dominant car in the first half of the race. But then we had Blake Peterson overshooting turn one, which kind of spooked the 0-0, made contact with Sean Bridesman, which then gave Blake Peterson the all clear to take off, get the win. And the 0-9 is locked into the next round. He's going to the round of 8. But all the other drivers, they still have to figure out who's going to be taking those other 7 spots. And coming into this oval race, I mean, Kevin Smith looking quick once again, but he's got a lot more competition that's just as quick as him coming into tonight.
Greg, we've missed you the last couple of weeks. It's glad to have you back in the hot seat, my friend. What's your take of what we've seen in the playoffs so far? And what do you – well, this is a little bit better. At least I blocked my ghost shadow behind me. What do you think we're going to see tonight at Indianapolis for the Cup Series?
Well, playoff racing, it just ramps up the intensity tenfold. I mean, we're one race in to the playoffs. It was at the Indianapolis Road Course. We're back in Indy tonight, but it's the oval, an entirely different form of racing here. But it's the playoffs. These drivers only have a certain number of races before we're on to the next round, and 4 drivers are going home after that. So these guys the pressure's on for them. Blake Peterson's already locked in to the next round. However, these guys only have a few races left, and we're sending 4 drivers home at the end of the first round. For those guys below the cutoff line right now, it's going to be all or nothing for these next couple of weeks. Some of them, they might be in must-win mode already.
All right, Greg, we'll stay with you, my friend. Who's your pick to win here tonight?
Well, I've been out of it for a couple of weeks, but, I mean, being here since early in the season, you know who the fast guys are, and I'm going with a guy who is looking for another win here in the playoffs. I think he's going back-to-back and sweep Indy. I'm going Blake Peterson in the 0-9. Led the regular season in wins. Starts it off with a playoff win as well. I'm going Peterson for the Indy sweep.
And, of course, he did win here at Indianapolis Road Course last week. Samuel Dyer, it seems like when you make these picks, man, you normally kick butt and take names. Who's the man you're picking on tonight to win here at Indianapolis?
Well, I mean, last week for the Cup Series, went with a risk, went with Blake Peterson. Well, I'm going to go with another risk. I saw practice the other day, and it was Dan West Jr. that was top of the board, quickest. And that's the driver I'm thinking might be able to come around, get a win, and lock himself into the round of 8.
All right, and by the way, he is at the top of the leaderboard right now, so we'll hopefully see what the man out of Shelton, Washington can do in the double nickel and defending Truck Series champion of last year. My pick is going to be the driver that has won here several times before, and that is the man in CWR Racing, Chris White. He's got 2 wins this year. Earlier this year, he won at Indianapolis. He also won at Charlotte. He's won in the past here at Indianapolis. I really think you have to go with Chris White. And, of course, our producer, Charles, in the LSRTV Rocket Media production truck, as always, goes with Billings, Montana, Jeff Stabnow. Greg Rentz is all the way to the far back. Samuel Dyer is in the middle. And I'm right here, Wesley Outland. Coming up, we'll take a look at your Race on Texas 411, your sawblade.com weather conditions, and we'll give you that Team 126 Racing starting lineup. Is almost close to 30 drivers are ready to battle. Round 2, Indianapolis, the Brickyard 200, when we return on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You see the front straightaway. You see the pagoda, the yard of bricks. We're getting ready to go with race time here at Indy. The Brickyard 200 just about 5 minutes away as qualifying is concluding. Drivers meeting ongoing. Greg, it's also good to have Aunt Kathy back in the chat box.
Yeah, she's back. We've been kind of going around with the real racing here in the Northwest. We have had some championship races, got a couple more to go, but back in the saddle here on Monday nights and Wednesday nights, the Northwest Truck Series and Cup Series. I'm excited to be back and looking forward to seeing how these playoffs unfold.
All right, Samuel, you've been with me the last couple of weeks, those last 5 weeks up to the playoffs, and what we saw last week here on the road course. Throw that all out the window. One of the things me and you talked about repeatedly was fuel strategy. It's going to be a fuel mileage battle. Do you still feel that here as these drivers get ready to go 90 laps tonight?
Oh, absolutely.
80 laps
They've trimmed it down now, 80 laps here tonight for the Cup cars. It's still going to be close on fuel for these drivers on when they want to pick and choose. Some drivers might think about leaning back on this first stint, save some fuel, so then they could try to turn this race into a one-stop. But a lot of drivers seems to be two-stop strategy might be the key, which on Friday for the ARCA Series, it was Sean Breisman that had the best pit stop strategy, pitting earlier than everyone else, but still only doing 2 pit stops, maximizing his tires, and utterly got him the win.
That'll be interesting to see. Let's take a look at the race on Texas 411. Race information, of course, again, it's 80 laps. It was on Friday night. The ARCA race was 90 laps. Maybe they decided to cut it now. So 80 laps the distance. We have 2-lap qualifying already completed, 30-lap practice. Drivers meeting ongoing. We're about 3 minutes away. And by the way, the race information is presented by RaceOnTexas.com. Get them ready. Coming in October. Of course, it's the big one, the Lone Star Texas 600. You want to be a part of it, and you can check it out only on RaceOnTexas.com. That'll be in October as well. Race information. Now let's take a look at the SawBlade.com. Weather conditions. Oh, yeah, mostly cloudy. 72 degrees, 77 track temp. Wind speed nice and comfortable virtually. Greg, what's that going to be like tonight?
The low track temperature is going to have a bunch of grip in this racetrack, which is going to be very key. This is a track notorious for tire wear, and these cooler temperatures is going to help with that. However, I think as the race wears on, it will probably heat up just a little bit due to the rubber getting laid down. That will raise the track temperature a little bit more as the race wears on, but I don't think we're going to see it come into play as much as, say, we would at a Rockingham or a New Hampshire or a Milwaukee type location where the track is just going to be a greasy, slippery surface, almost a dirt track. Don't think it's going to get quite to that level with the cooler track temperature, but I think the track temp is going to raise up a little bit throughout the day.
Samuel Dyer, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was keeping my eye out on the mostly cloudy aspect of this. Practice was mostly cloudy as well, and it was very dark and gloomy with how much cloud cover there was throughout this race. We're going to be seeing a lot of these drivers getting to see a little bit of that sunlight creeping through, warming up the track, but with the cloud cover, it's going to transition throughout the whole entire race, where we might be seeing the race completely covered by clouds, and other laps it's going to be just partly covered. It's going to be a factor certainly to watch out for.
Any moment, the field will be gritting, ready to go. Of course, before we do go racing, let's take a look at the point standings, if we can. Leading up to this race, before we give you your starting lineup, the point standings here in the playoffs. There it is, round number 1 completed. Lake Peterson picking up the win last week here at Indianapolis at the road course. Kevin Smith. Greg, What can we say about your buddy up north in Hermiston, Washington? Could he possibly pull the upset, win the championship? But then you've got defending champions of Cup and Truck, Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, Ryan Bloom in the top 5. Your thoughts on that, bud?
Man, Kevin Smith, what an incredible season he has had. That ARCA series that we've talked about and televised a couple of times here on LSRTV has paid dividends to him spectacularly. So awesome to see him going. But look at those names he's up there with. Defending Cup Series champion Sean Brightsman in 4th. Defending Truck champion Dan West Jr. in 3rd. Another rookie, Ryan Bloom, right there in the top 5 as well. But you got BJ Tidrick, a finalist in the Cup Series last season. Steven Paulson, a finalist in the Truck Series. Chris White, who's won many races in this series. Jeff Stabnow, of course, one of the stalwarts of this season. Caden Anderson, the final driver there in the playoffs. But he has been strong all season long, getting a bunch of wins. So you got a lot of guys up there that can contend for wins. You know, you can't forget about Stephen O'Hare and Tyler King, the Beaver State Racing guys either. But look at those playoff drivers. Kevin Smith has done a spectacular job to get himself into this position and get to race against the best of the best. Now he's got to show why he made it.
Samuel, been fun couple of weeks down the stretch. The playoff race 1 was fun as well. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the drivers that are doing so well, I mean, Kevin Smith, Bloom, as well as looking at BJ Tidrick, those are 3 drivers I'm surprised on how well they're doing. 2 drivers I'm very concerned about. That's got to be Stephen O'Hare and Tyler King, 2 drivers that came into the playoffs, probably one of the hottest streaks of a lot of the drivers out here, struggled at the road course. Now they've got a rebound here at the Indy Oval.
It's almost go time. Let's take a look at that Team 126 Racing starting lineup as the field is beginning to get assembled down below the Yard of Bricks at the start-finish line at the Pagoda. And the field is ready to go. Front row, Dan West Jr. Once again, another pick by Samuel. Could he be the one? Blake Peterson alongside of the 09. He won here on the road course last week. Row 2. Good to see him back again after a 1-week suspension. Caden Anderson in 37 from Yakima, Washington. He must win to advance into the next round. Kevin Smith got a couple of ARCA wins. One last week also in the trucks at the road course. Now looking for a Cup win. Row number 3 on the grid. We'll find defending Cup Series champion and the ARCA winner here at Indianapolis Friday night, Sean Brightsman. And my pick in the Ford, number 83, Chris White. He won here earlier in the year. Row number 4, we'll find Ryan Bloom in 25, and Jeff Stabnow, Greg Rentz will round out your top 10 in the 24 from Billings, Montana.
Rolling off in the 9th position, we've got Clifford, the big red car. It's Toby Ritters in the number 23 with a new look on the number 5 of Devin West. Black and yellow, black and yellow. Devin West rounds out the top 10. Stephen O'Hare, playoff driver, going to roll off in the 11th position in the number 41 for Beaver State Racing. With James Thurston, always good to have him in the field as he's only able to run part-time this season. He will roll off in 12 positions. The field rolls away. Samuel Rose, number 7. Carl Burke in the 53. And Judd Wakefield rounding out the number 14th position in car number 50.
In 15th, in row number 8, we find the Catman, James Vining in the 333, as well as John Ottenbacher in the 89. That's finishing out 16th. And 17th, we find that of Gary Nichols in the 8, and Tyler King in the 21, back in row number 9. In 18th position, Tyler King has to make up a lot of ground. Aaron Cooper going to be starting off row number 10, as well with Troy Daggett in the 51. And as we're looking at the rest of the field, it's going to be Russ Lundberg going to be starting out row number 11 with BJ Tidrick back there, as well as Scott Hutchinson, and that of Frank Harris finishing out row number 12.
So there is the lineup. Everybody there. Lights are off on the iRacing pace car. 90 laps on the 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You think of the Indy 500, the Brickyard 400 as well for NASCAR, 20-plus years. You think of a rectangle track, if you will. It's got those short chutes right between the corners of all identical 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. The straightaways identically the same length as these drivers will get ready to go 200 miles, 80 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Normally, the Brickyard 400 is 400 miles, 160 laps. This race is again 200 miles, 80 laps the distance. And we are about ready to go here. As the pace car will get ready to drop onto the pit lane, the field awaits on the front row, looking to see what goes down. Could it be another pick for Lake Peterson or Dan West Jr.? Beautiful looking car, changing his colors. Green flag in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. They'll send it down to turn number 1. Anderson trying to make a quick move to second. He's behind Dan West Jr. as the battle goes on for Brightsman and Peterson for third. Greg in turn 2.
Brightsman on the inside of Peterson, your defending Cup champion versus the guy with the most wins here on the season. Brightsman going to fall in line behind Peterson for now. That'll leave the side-by-side between Smith and White as the first battle on the racetrack, but West Jr. trying to break away from Anderson early.
White's certainly going to be pressuring right now, going to push up the 0-0, and Smith's got to be careful. Going so high that could kill his momentum as Stab now just lingering and waiting to make the pressure forward, but it's Devin West and Bloom side by side on the front stretch.
Down the front straightaway, 1 lap in, everybody is all single file. Nip Tuck jumping out of line goes Ryan Bloom. He'll try to make a move after Stab now. Also, Devin West in black and yellow, like the Pittsburgh Steelers colors. Of course, they lost to Vegas. I'm kind of disappointed yesterday. But that's a nice-looking car, Greg. And awesome seeing these different paint schemes. Down the back straightaway, they're all single file. It is Dan West Jr., his father, leading the way to the back straightaway in the third turn.
You know, I live here in the Northwest, but I'm still a California kid, and I got to say, 49ers 2-0 here to start the season off. But back up front, Dan West Jr. leading the way over Anderson in the number 37. Anderson bringing the inspiration here from his real-life late model, which he won the biggest race of his life, the Fall Classic, just last year at Yakima Speedway. This Cup car that he's running right now for the playoffs matches that paint scheme that he picked up that big win in Yakima at the last ever race at the Yakima Half Mile. Next weekend, hard to believe, we got a race in Wenatchee this weekend, but next weekend, a new tradition, back from the dead, Tri-City Raceway returns to host the Fall Classic for the first race in 17 years at the Tri-Oval in Kennewick, or West Richland, excuse me. No doubt Caden Anderson in that number 37 car is very, very excited to be going for back-to-back in the Fall Classic at a brand new racetrack that he's never raced at. First race since 2004, Tri-City Raceway, back from the dead here in the Northwest. We're excited for that, and Anderson no doubt ready to go and represent the Northwest Racing Series at that race.
And Samuel obviously, Caden Anderson needing to get a win here tonight or somehow in the next week or two to try to advance to the round of 12, because if not, his season for a championship in both Cup and Truck can come to an end.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to be looking for the win, Caden Anderson is, but honestly, with the way that he's running, just getting top 5s, top 3 finishes, I think he might be able to dig himself out of the hole that he's in currently, being 30 points out from the cut line. Caden Anderson, all he needs to do is just continue running consistent, which he has been one of the fastest cars every single week. As you'll take a look at the playoff points, you see the 37, bottom of the board, 33 points out from the cut line. But some of the drivers that he needs to beat, he's ahead of all of them, and some of the guys that he needs to catch up. As you're seeing, a lot of drivers picking and choosing where they want to go. It's Chris White, thinking about ducking low, but just not close enough to make the pass.
Yeah, Chris White's my pick right now. He's in that number 5 position. Nice, strong runs. Greg, you were with us whenever we saw Chris White win at Indianapolis. And, man, it just seems like every time he comes here, he does well. He figures this track out. He knows this place. And that's why I'm riding with the man of that Ford number 83, that blue and yellow machine behind the back of Sean Brightsman, who's currently now in 5th, right there with the top 5 as they work their way to the short chute into the 3rd and 4th turn.
You know, Chris White has speed everywhere we go, but he has a couple of racetracks, you know, Texas, Charlotte, Indianapolis. He has a couple of tracks that it just seems like he's on another level. Caution's out, so we'll have to catch up with what happened there. But as we slow it down, this is definitely one of those tracks that Chris White has to be considered a threat, as it looks like Gary Nichols in the number 8 has gone off the racetrack.
Caution out, first time. We'll take a look. Oh,
Nichols
my goodness, Nichols. Yeah.
Getting the Pulse Popper's instant replay there. He got the wall there off, I believe, is that turn number 3 up there? Then he got into the wall, bounced down in front of another car. Here's another look at it. You'll see down the back stretch, we're going on board with Gary Nichols. This is going off into turn number 3. He was scored in 23rd position at the time. Just pushes up the track, similar to what we saw out of Kevin Smith earlier. And a bit him there. Troy Daggett gets by, and then he gets piled up there with that blue car behind him. Didn't catch the number of that blue and pink car that got in the back of Nichols. But either way, it's a 2-car incident, has us under caution here. It's the 71 of Aaron Cooper that was the other car involved.
Yeah, Aaron Cooper. Tough break there for Aaron Cooper. And Samuel, we're early in, 6 in of 80. You think anybody comes to the pit lane? Yes.
A little bit of fakery, maybe. But the man that I was thinking about, Sean Breisman, is coming in. It's Wells Jeff Stabnow. This is going to be right around the window of if you're going to do an early pit stop. If you're planning on, going backwards on your pit stop strategies, this is exactly what Sean Breisman did on Friday night. Hit it early, and he's got that of Jeff Stabnow following suit with the same strategy. The question is, are they going to take tires on this pit stop? The drivers came in with 4 sets. The one they started out with in 3 in pit road, and they're taking a set. As you see, the jacks going up on the 46.
Yeah, you've got Brightsman on pit lane, Stabnow now exiting. I think I saw Judd Wakefield come to the pits as well. Obviously, Cooper from the damage from the accident with Nichols' car. Nichols will get a fast repair. And under the yellow flag we go. Caution is out for the first time in the Brickyard 200. We'll step away. More coverage in a moment from Indianapolis, LSRTV, CRN Sports, and round 2 of the playoffs for the Northwest iRacing Cup Series, proudly presented by Tom Ditchell Automotive Group. Here's a word from our sponsor.
Every customer, every single time, needs to get our very best. From moment one, my goal managing a team here in the dealership is to make sure that that customer's experience is the very best that they've ever had. We expect and demand total transparency. There should never be a time in that transaction where the customer is wondering or not quite sure of what they're buying or what they're paying or those sorts of things. And having that transparency and doing things the right way is super important.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSR TV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the Community Radio Network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
Yeah, you see my ugly mug, shaking it, shake it off, shake it off. And we welcome you back to coverage. Okay, Samuel and Greg, I don't think that's a good image, is it? Shake it off.
No.
We got to be careful not to get copyright claims on that one.
Yeah, don't worry. I don't think I'll get sued. Dan West Jr. and Caden Anderson right alongside. Blake Peterson. There you see Chris
Might
White.
get sued for
Devin West
doing a horrible
Greg,
job
can we
there.
say Devin West? Yeah, I was going to say, what about Devin West, Greg? You mentioned him earlier. He's all the way up in the top 5. Good run for him.
He's having a nice run. He's up 5 positions after he started up in the top 10. Him and his father, again, both debuting new paint schemes. Not sure what brought the change on, but, I mean, definitely vastly different looks for them. I mean, we're on board with Devin right now. Black and yellow now as opposed to white and red that we saw for the entirety of his career. And then Dan West Jr. has been white and blue. Black and green racing machine now on that number 55. Not sure what brought the changes about for the West family, but definitely some awesome looking race cars. But Devin doing a nice job. His father's led every lap thus far, but Devin, he's up 5 positions from the 10th starting spot. Cracked the top 5 here under caution now. let's see how it goes as we're on board with him. Looking, though, at a guy who's been dominant this season, Lake Peterson in the 09, winner last week here on the road course. Looking to back it up here with a big win on the oval.
Yeah, we'll see what that Sweet Fleet Enterprises Chevrolet Camaro can do right there in third. Fifth, running on board with Devin West. You see the pace car scampered down out of harm's way. They make their way back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag goes back in the air in Indianapolis on the jump. Dan West Jr., Anderson, Peterson. He'll pull away from all of them, Samuel, as they go to turn one.
Yeah, it's going to be side-by-side for second place. CK and Anderson, Lake Peterson keeping it close, and then behind them, it's that of Chris White. Devin West keeping it side-by-side, but it's going to be Lake Peterson able to just try to snug his way through for that second-place position, but he's still drag racing on the backstretch.
Working their way down that straightaway into that third turn. Little antsy there for a moment, trying to go three wide. Peterson to the inside, White down below him. Anderson hung out the drive. Not like Talladega or Daytona, though, as a draft would be, Greg, so I guess he can try to battle back, and that's exactly what he's doing for the P2 position on the back on the front stretch off turn 4.
You know, stuck on the outside might not be the place you want to be at this racetrack, but Caden Anderson's doing a nice job holding suit right now on the outside. Actually, as we look here, Devin West making a move behind on Chris White. We're on board with Lake Peterson, the driver on the inside here of Caden Anderson. Behind them, he's backing down now, but Chris White took a stab on the outside. Actually, it looks like he made the pass on Devin West. Nice move by White on the outside there. As now Kevin Smith taking a peek on the bottom, and Chris White was thinking three wide there. Smith now making a move on the inside. He's going to get the spot. You're still on board with Lake Peterson there on the right side of your screen, who's in a side-by-side battle with Caden Anderson. This all going on for the second spot, and you can see that little black and green dot up in the windshield of Peterson getting a little bit smaller and smaller. That's race leader Dan West Jr. pulling away.
And he's under attack. Look out as Anderson is in a dogfight, if you will. To the inside, to the outside, up to the top shelf. Peterson down below him. White goes to the inside. They try to go three wide. Samuel off for the short shoot in 2.
It was just a wall for White, but he's able to just sneak his way in front of the 09. Chris White trying to make the moves forward. We've seen him win here at Indy before. He's trying to win again as he's just getting these massive runs out of the corner. And that's where the advantage of this 83's been, is on the exit of the corners each and every time we're coming out of turn 2 or out of turn 4.
Watching them work their way through the short shoot into that third turn. We're working now 70 laps to go here in this race. 200 miles, 80 laps. In the Brickyard, 200 down the front straightaway. You can't block 2 or 3 lanes. You can only pick one, and that's what Anderson's going to do. Now Christopher White will tuck his Ford right up under Anderson, losing some ground as they go to the short shoot in turn 2, Greg.
White trying to hold on. How much of those tires did he burn off there making those moves on Peterson, Smith, West, and company up there? Again, we talked about it in the pre-race. This track eats tires as, a little bit of a bobble deep in the field there. Frank Harris was alongside. Someone believed that may have been Hutchinson that Harris was locked in a battle with deeper in the field. But again, this track, notorious for tire wear. So these drivers have to play it smart. Remember, last time we were here, the race that Chris White picked up the win in, there was unlimited tires available to them. This year, new for the Cup and Truck Series, tire limits on these cars. As Anderson goes all the way down. Oh, we got problems. Ottenbacher's around in the 89 car. We stay green because he's off the racing surface, but he pounds the wall. Now the caution's out on lap number 13. Second time today, Ottenbacher around.
What a tough break for John Ottenbacher. Not one of the playoff contenders, so we'll have to, just some bad luck. James Thurston up on his outside of the 2 car. James Vining is there, and he just lost it on his own. He just lost it on his own, Samuel. Nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, just like what Greg said. I mean, he touched the apron, got close to the grass, as we're going to be right on board with the 89 and get a sense of how he was driving, trying to get low. And this is pretty similar to what we were kind of seeing from Lake Peterson, where they're trying to get so low, cut this track so much, but you can get to a point where you touch the rumble strips of the grass and away they go.
The good news is, guys, we do have a fast repair available. The problem is the drivers do not want to use the fast repair this early on in the race. And going back to what we talked about also, or what we were talking about at the time of that incident, last year in this race, unlimited tires. Tire wear wasn't really a problem because you had as many tires as you wanted to put on the car. This year, they didn't put tire limits in on these races. So these drivers only have a certain amount of tires available to them. And at a track like Indianapolis, that's why you're seeing the strategies like what Brightsman and Stabnow did early, pitting early, but you're seeing a lot of guys stay out. They know they only have a certain amount of tires that they can throw on this car for this 80-lap race. And with the tire wear being as crucial as it is, you want to try to have as much available at the end of the race that you can. So you have to really pick and choose your pit stops here in this 80-lap race.
Well, we're just after 15 laps coming up here in just a moment in this 80-lap contest here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's go up topside with our coverage brought to you by All American Pools. And in doing so, we'll give you the full field rundown after these pit stops take place, as it looks like some are coming in. Dan West Jr. with another fake. Anderson will come in. So will some other drivers behind him. But it's going to be Caden Anderson, Chris White, Blake Peterson, Ryan Bloom, Tyler King, James Thurston, and more. Samuel, the Cavalry, coming in to the deep end of the pool. All coming in for service early going.
Yeah, a lot of drivers coming into pit road. And of all the drivers that came in, Chris White and Caden Anderson leading the charge with Blake Peterson. But further back in the field, saw that as Sean Brightsman back into pit road for the 46. He's most likely coming in just to top up with fuel, but drivers, most of them taking tires, getting packed full of fuel. And from this point on, this race can be turned into a one-stop race after this. So drivers now trying to plan out, when do they make that next and possibly final pit stop?
Race off pit road. There you see it. And there's the guys that didn't pit. Dan West Jr., boy, he just, Greg, he played possum on everybody. Not once, but twice in this race so far. Sean Brightsman still on pit road with a lot of damage on his car. Boy, oh boy, defending Cup Series champion Toyota all torn up. Greg Rentz, that's not good for the Camry of Sean Brightsman.
Because
yeah, I think we might have lost. Go ahead, there you are. Go ahead.
So Sean Brightsman, he had to take a tow there. It looks like in the number 46, something may have happened under this caution flag, because we looked, either he had to take a tow or he didn't have the fast repair checked, but that was a lot of damage to that number 46 of Brightsman. Looks like James Thurston might be coming to pit road in the number 2, as I saw him kind of hanging to the left a little bit. James Thurston up in the top 10. He's going to come down pit road now, so not sure what happened, but some developments under this caution flag here. Still West Jr. leading the way in the 55 over Smith, Devin West, and Toby Ritters, but still a long way to go in this one. But Sean Brightsman, one of the title contenders, playoff driver, in trouble here early.
Samuel, that's a tough break for Sean Brightsman as the lights are off on the pace car, and we'll go to 1 to go, and we got a new face of characters up in the top 5 as well.
Yeah, looking up front, we got our top 5, all drivers that have not pitted so far this race. First car that came into pit road it was back during our first caution, that being Judd Wakefield as well as Troy Daggett. It's Chris White back in 8th place. It's going to be starting off the drivers that just came in for this last caution for these pit stop. But yeah, no, up front, this is going to be massive for Dan West Jr., seeing some of his toughest competition already taken out. But for Sean Brightsman, there was a lot of pressure put on this 46 just because of how well he ran in the ARCA Series Friday night. We thought maybe you could carry that over here to the Cup car, but he's going to have to recover and try to make a better charge next week, because this is 2 weeks in a row of heartbreak for the 46.
Well, keep an eye on that. There is Sean Brightsman again coming off of that big win in the ARCA race on Friday night. And honestly, Samuel, he dominated that race, to be truthful. Dan West Jr., The 55 new wrap jobs, still sponsored by LSRTV. Tom Dinchell Automotive Entry, 00, Jags, so many other sponsors on the Ford of Kevin Smith alongside father and son on row number 1 and 2, inside row. Pace car coming in. Toby Ritters is there also in the top 5, along with Stephen O'Hare, winner at Talladega. What a crazy race that was. Green flag back out. And we are back to racing again. Dan West Jr. to the outside. Here comes son, father, son, fighting for the lead at Indy. And right now, Daddy's pulling away. It's Dad West over Son West as they work the short shoot. Greg Rinson to turn number 2.
Dan West Jr. trying to pull away from his son Devin. Both drivers dirt racers and successful ones in their own right. But here on the iRacing server, it's been Dan who has been the stronger one here. A staple of the series for a couple years. Picked up that truck championship last year. His son Devin, this is just his second year on the season, or on the tour, but wins in both the Truck Series and Cup Series. A finalist in the Truck Series. We're under caution once again. Here, we don't even get a lap in this time.
Oh my goodness, Chris White is one of the cars involved. Oh man. We'll find out what happened. They tried to stick it 3 wide. There's Chris White. He was in the top 5, and there's contact. Contact and spin and slung like a top. Jeff Stabnow involved. James Vining caught up in it. This is not good, Samuel. My goodness, man. Third caution very quickly here at Indy.
Yeah, 4 drivers, heavily contact involved. That means they're going to have to come in, make that hard decision. Do you want to use the fast repair now because of how large Indy is and how much aero package and having that aero damage is going to influence your car? Most likely a lot of these machines going to have to come into pit road and take a fast repair. And that is going to be heartbreaking for a lot of these drivers that didn't, like we were talking about during the last caution. You don't want to use a fast repair this early on. And it's looking like for some of these drivers like Chris White and Jeff Stabnow and maybe even James Vining, fast repair might have to be used.
Caution is out. Who's coming to the pits? Will Dan West Jr. suck him for a 3rd time? Yeah, looks like Son's coming in. Devin West will pit. No, he will not. 1 car pits out of the whole clan in the front. And Dan West Jr., Devin West, Kevin Smith, top 5. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more from Indy in a moment.
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, right? Our Ram trucks, truck of the year, amazing trucks. We have fun Jeeps, and then the exciting Dodge and Chrysler products. Lots of performance there, lots of excitement there. They've done a great job in really creating a full scope product line that could suit everybody's needs. Whether it's a family vehicle or a fun vehicle or a utility type vehicle or a big truck, we've got it all for our customers.
Hey, it's Wesley Outlet on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, working multiple caution flags in the early going of the opening 20 laps. Samuel Dyer, Greg Rentz alongside. I'm Wesley Outland. Charles Wood in the production chair for Rocket Media LSR TV. And, well, Greg, it's been caution filled for sure.
Definitely an interesting way to start this race off. We were wondering if this race was going to be kind of a tale of long green flags separated by maybe the occasional caution flag, but 3 cautions in the first quarter of this race. We're only 20 laps into this 80-lap race tonight, so this has definitely not been the flow of the race that we were expecting, and what that has done has allowed for various pit strategies to play. West Jr. and West up on the front row right now, but you have drivers who are on various pit strategies now mixed into the field in various ways. It's going to be very interesting to see how it goes off here with these guys. When do these leaders pit, guys? That's the question.
Samuel, your thoughts on that, bud?
Yeah, I mean, thinking about pit stops for these front 5, they can, if we're running green, go about 35 to 37 laps. But we've had some pace laps because of the multiple cautions we've had. Might be able to push these cars out to maybe 38 to 39, maybe even go to halfway, which if they can get to halfway, just make this a one-stop race, certainly could change the dynamic of these drivers having extra sets of tires for the front 5, as everyone else practically has already used up at least 1 set. Some have already used 2. So the pressure's on when you want to use the set of tires that are in pit road. Again, you have 3. Some drivers have already used 1. Some of you already used 2. And the front 5 have used none of those 3.
Be interesting to watch as they'll make their way back to the Geico restart zone here in just a moment. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, working again, another caution flag. 3rd yellow flag of the race. The pace car getting ready to drop back onto the pit lane. Green lights are on for pit road if anybody needs to pit. And the green and black 55 gets ready to bring them back to the green flag. We're back to it again here at the Yard of Bricks. They roar back across turn number 1. West, Smith, O'Hare, along with Ritter's your top 5. What a good run for Toby in the top 5 as they go back into turn number 2.
Judd Wakefield stuck on the outside there in the number 50. He's going to lose a lot of ground. And again, that's that outside lane that we talked about not working well right now. We've only seen a couple of cases, Sam, where that outside line has worked. And unfortunately, that one for Judd Wakefield right there was not one of them.
Yeah, if you're going to be running on the outside, you've got to be pinching the drivers, being aggressive on forcing that inside car to not be able to get back onto the throttle on the exit. That's how you defend properly. But if you're over 2 lanes above someone else, you're just losing ground to the drivers in front of you. As we're seeing side-by-side action, it's Caden Anderson as well as Blake Peterson continuing to duke it out to see who's going to be in 6th position.
Watching them as they go back across the start-finish line. Another lap on the board. Back into the corner. And what a good run they've got right
just
now.
Just noticed the back of Caden Anderson's car. It says Corn Dog Mafia.
Corn Dog Mafia. He likes his corn dogs.
No, it's not him. It's his crew
that,
chief and his late model, Chance Overholt. Corn Dog Mafia, the president of the Corn Dog Mafia, Chance Overholt. So, gotta love it that Caden, again, it said his car on iRacing's inspired by his real-life late model. That's another one. Corn Dog Mafia, represented on iRacing tonight.
Ole! We like tacos, too. 3 wide. Look at Tendrick. Verizon Machine going 3 wide. Going after Ritters,
He's a former winner.
Bloom.
Tendrick's a former winner on this series as well. He's in the playoffs also, and he's got that blue bar, which means he's above the cutoff line at this moment.
Yes, Greg, we'll never forget that abnormal night at Darlington when he won that race, for sure. .23 of 80 laps. Kevin Smith now, Samuel, up to the lead, the 00. Here he comes.
Yeah, Dan West Jr. looking like he got a little bit too high getting out of the groove, and it's now the 00 just pulling away, trying to drive as hard and as fast as he can. The driver that that Smith has to be concerned about, Caden Anderson, he's in 3rd position, freshest tires on track. Goes to the 37 in 3rd place. He's just picking and choosing, and right now it's going to be on the backstretch when we can really see the 37 get a good launch and try to attack to go up to 2nd.
Whoa, James Thurston
Wow,
way down
Thurston.
on the apron off of turn number 2.
Holy cow. That was a scary moment for the 2 car. We might have a replay for you.
Yeah, what in the world happened off of turn number 2 for James Thurston? Just looked up and saw him shoot all the way down. Here's a Bolts Poppers instant replay. This is going off into turn number 1.
Watch the
Let's see, he's right behind, I believe this is Carl Burke. And then he's going to shoot off into turn number 2, and then right about here, he caught the wall.
In the wall. Wow. And then, just shooting back up into the oncoming traffic. Smart move, Greg, to get on the binders as we're working lap 25 and avoid getting back into the pack as Devin West has now moved to the lead. 4th different leader of the race so far.
The younger West trying to lead the way. Oh, look at Kevin Smith and Dan West Jr. fighting there on the bottom. That's going to allow Anderson and West to pull away, and this is going to rekindle an old legend rivalry from the Northwest that we've seen a couple of times over the years. Anderson and West battling it out once again here now in Indianapolis. This time, give it to Anderson out of Yakima. No, West fights back out of Shelton.
Couple of Washington natives, Yakima, Washington, of course, Harvest Chevrolet number 37, battling the Shelton, Washington native that Greg reiterated on of Devin West. He won Bristol. How cool was that, the race on Bristol on dirt? Yes, sir. Bristol dirt. Sweat Bristol dirt, if you remember. He won Cup and Truck. Like Dad, he won Richmond for Cup and Truck this year.
Look what Anderson's doing up there, guys. He's trying to break the draft off the new second-place driver, Lake Peterson, in the 09. Down that long straightaway. Does not want to let Peterson get to the bumper, so that's why you'll see the leader kind of shoot to the bottom and then back up to the top, trying to break that draft to not let Peterson get a big run, and you have a great view of that from on board with Devin West, but now he's under fire from Kevin Smith.
Samuel, quite entertaining here. Definitely different than what we saw Monday night or Friday night in the ARCA series.
Yeah, that Friday night race, everyone got spread out almost instantly, and it was green for primarily most of that race. But because of all the early cautions and all the cautions we've had in those first 20 laps, it's allowed these drivers to all be on such different tire compounds and strategies. That's why we're seeing these different groups up front. Kane Anderson, Lake Peterson, they're both on similar tires, so they're able to duke it out. Then you got second and third, third and fourth, that of Devin West and Dan West. They're on similar tires, so everyone's on a different strategy than others, which means when we get into lap 35 to 40, things are going to change on who decides wants to come into pit road and who doesn't of the drivers out here to make that next pit stop.
We are now approaching 30 laps coming up on lap number 27. And while we're doing that, we were going to give you the full field rundown around lap 15, so let's do it right now. And let's go top view. Presented by All-American Pools, high above the racetrack. And the leader will go 8x8. Caden Anderson is the leader. Lake Peterson is in second. Third is Devin West. Fourth is Dan West Jr. Fifth is now Dan West Jr. as Ryan Bloom will go to fourth. BJ Tidrick is in sixth. Kevin Smith, seventh. Stephen Hare is in the 8th position right now, working lap number 28, Greg.
Looking in that 9th position, the second non-playoff driver in the field right now is Carl Burke in the number 53 in the top 10. James Thurston had that moment a moment ago where he caught the wall, but he's battling back on the inside right now, trying to get himself a spot ahead there of Thurston. Burke, and right behind him, back in the mix, playoff driver, defending Cup champion Sean Breitzman in the number 46. He is caught up to the tail end as well after getting that damage repaired on at number 46. Playoff driver Chris White behind him. Those two drivers are above the cutoff line. The next two on the pylon, Jeff Stabnow and Tyler King, they are below the cutoff line entering tonight. That's what the red bar means. And remember, Stabnow and Breitzman already been caught up in an accident tonight, already had to use the fast repair. John Ottenbacher caught up in an accident as well. The Catman James Vining rounds out the top 16, Sam.
Then in 17th, we find Judd Wakefield, the driver we were talking about just a couple of laps ago. He was riding a little bit too high for the 50 machine, but he's found a place to be snug right now in 17th. With that of Frank Harris, who we saw be caught up in the first incident of the day, running in 18th. Drew Dag also involved in that first incident in 19th. 20th finds Aaron Cooper with Toby Ritters. Clifford back in 21st position. Scott Hutchinson's going to be in 22nd. Russ Lundberg going to be back in 23rd. And Gary Nichols going to be one lap down. And struggling is the 8 machine as we move back up to see the battling further up in the field. As here's a new leader, Lake Peterson.
Lake Peterson, winner at the road course last week here at Indy. And now getting around Caden Anderson. And Peterson.
Remember, we saw Anderson trying to break that draft. He was trying to not let Peterson get that draft. And now Peterson doing the same thing there to try to break the draft off of Anderson. Big thing you got to do with the leader, try to break that draft. It looked like Peterson was able to stick with Anderson just long enough to get that draft, to get himself a shot around him. And now the driver with the green bar already locked into the second round, leading the way once again, 10 laps from halfway.
By the way, if you look on all the cars for drivers that are in the playoffs, they have on the top of their spoilers, they have playoffs. They have a special spoiler there. You see it on Brightsman car. And it is in like a teal, green, yellow, if you will. And it says, of course, playoffs. And they have the teal, green, yellow spoiler as well. There you see a nice idea right there. Tom Denchel Auto Group. And the Brights Boutique entry. Trying to go after now. Snap now to the inside, Samuel, as that goes on in the top 10. But for these drivers struggling early. But right now trying to get back to it. And still, we're not at halfway yet. There's still a lot of racing left to go.
Yeah, there's still a lot of racing to go. We're about 8 laps away from those drivers that we touched on that did not pit yet this race. First of those is going to be the 5 of Devin West. Then you drop back. You got Dan West as well as Kevin Smith. And also you've got that of Stephen O'Hare that are going to have to pit here around lap 38 to 40 is their window that they're looking at because of the amount of cautions that we had in pacing. The drivers were able to save just enough fuel, but they still need to come into pit road at some point. But as we're watching and seeing the battle for third place, Devin West under heavy pressure from the 25, Ryan Bloom.
This is going on for that third spot right now. Bloom trying to track down Devin West. You can see the gap that's already been opened up between Peterson and Anderson. They're 1/10 of a second apart. Then it's over 3 back now to third place Devin West, fourth place Ryan Bloom. Let's talk about Ryan Bloom for a second. The rookie who made the playoffs, doing a fantastic job so far. And here he is, another top 5 run so far for the rookie Ryan Bloom.
Yeah, we'll keep it on a minute. As right now we have Ritters on pit lane. Toby Ritters in the 23. In position 23, ironically. There he is, his Camaro. Onto the pit lane for work. Tires and fuel, 4 tires and fuel at that for the number 23 Camaro of Toby Ritters. With Lake Peterson out in front. Samuel, we talked about this last week as here he comes down the front straightaway. Boy, oh boy, Ritters better be in max speed, but he can't. Stuck down on the bottom of the return road, which is the blend line here at Indy. He can't start to climb back on the racetrack until he works through the short chute at turn number 2. You have to stay on that return road all the way until there. And then Ritters can come up track. And you see him on the top right. And that's the blend line. If he enters that part of the racetrack before then, he suffers a penalty. But Samuel, man, Lake Peterson, we talked about this. This guy's on a rail. The regular season points champion. He won race 1 here at the road course last week. Now he's trying to sweep, if you will, another win at Indy and be the dominator and prevent any other drivers from getting in by wins in race 2 of the playoffs.
Oh yeah, Lake Peterson's been looking good, but oh boy, that was a very mixy position. Stephen O'Hare as well as Sean Bridesman. Bridesman was almost thinking about 3 wide. He is pushing the 41, trying to get by the 2 of Thurston as they're going through turns 1 and heading towards turn 2. The middle of the pack, right around 7th and 8th. It has been getting mixy, and drivers are recognizing it is go time currently right now. But yeah, talking about Lake Peterson, you can see him in green. He won last week. He's locked in, and honestly, he has been dominating during the regular season. Won 6 races. Then add on last week's win, total of 7 wins so far for the 09. 7 of those wins have been just, I mean, that is incredible to look at the rest of the field. Out of his 16 starts, 7 of them were wins, as well as 10 top 5s and 14 top 10s. Blake Peterson's been on a real charge for himself. But yeah, you see the battle that's going on for that of ninth place. Sean Breitzman, as well as Jeff Stabnow, working together to get by the 2.
Yeah, trying to stick it 3 wide there for just a moment. Stabnow, Breitzman teammates. There goes also Chris White trying to get back up in there again. Trying to come after Thurston and Stabnow. Oh boy, Thurston looked like about bounced off the wall. He'll save it down the back straightaway as they go to the short shoot in turn number 3. All the while, this battle going on. Greg in the top 10. It's very heated.
And you see Thurston again getting close to the wall off of turn number 2. That's the same spot that he got the wall about 5-10 laps ago. Here comes Chris White to the bottom of Jeff Stabnow, who you're on board with right now. And you're going to see Stabnow get a nice run there off the exit of turn number 4. It's about the only spot where you want to be on the outside at this racetrack, as he's trying to catch that slipstream of the 2 of Thurston up there. As, you see White with just a little bit there, not a whole lot. As we check back in with the race leader, Peterson leads, Anderson second. We're about 3 laps from halfway in this 80-lap, 200-mile race. Peterson out in front, Anderson holding steady about 0.2 of a second back right now. But did you notice there, guys, Peterson wasn't trying to break the draft that time like we've seen out of these leaders for the last 10 or so laps. Peterson just focused purely on his line and his line only, not worrying right now about what that 37's doing behind him.
Down the straightaway they come. We're quickly approaching halfway. Good to have Greg Rentz back in the broadcast booth with us. 3-man team. Wesley Outland here with you. Samuel Dyer alongside. Greg Rentz back, and the battle for the lead like cat and mouse going on. Cat goes that way, I grab him with the paw. If it goes the other way, I'll grab him with the paw. Finally, I'd squash him. And that's exactly what Anderson's trying to do. Cat and mouse with Peterson. He's going inside. He's going outside. Samuel, somehow, some way, he'll find a way to get around him if he can. Or is Peterson just that strong of a car?
I mean, right there, we're seeing Lake Peterson just a groove higher than where Kaden Anderson's running, which is giving an opportunity for the 37 to the inside, side by side as they're going down the front stretch. And Kaden Anderson and Lake Peterson just trying to pinch one another on the straightaway. Got to be careful not to take each other out as they're heading into turn number 1.
Wow, this is some heated racing going on between these 2 drivers, coming up on halfway in another lap and a half. And Greg, man, it just doesn't get any better than this. Anderson suspended last week, missing a race. He needs to win to advance. He's trying to do all he can to do that.
Meanwhile, this is an awesome battle going on back here for third on back. Kevin Smith going to get the spot away from Ryan Bloom. Look at BJ Tidrick in the number 72. He started outside of the top 20. That pass right there on Dan West Jr. puts him in 6th position. If he can get around that 5 car of Devin West, he's going to crack the top 5. And he's going to do it here, as here comes the West family down pit road for, I believe, the first time today. Carl Burke coming down in the 53 as well. So I believe this is the first pit stop of the day for Dan and Devin West.
That's right. First time. And honestly, we see, Samuel, that they can stretch it to halfway next time by.
Yeah, they could stretch it to halfway, but that was because of the assistance of those 3 cautions, all that pacing, and you don't want to make mistakes like that. Devin West overshooting. But there are still 2 other drivers that still need to pit, that being Kevin Smith and also that of Stephen O'Hare, that need to still make a pit stop here. They haven't done it at all today, as right now you see O'Hare battling with Jeff Stabnow, trying to get that 7th place position.
And this battle with Cat and
This is what I was worried about earlier, guys, with them.
Go ahead.
This is what I was worried about with them staying out. When did they absolutely have to pit? Looks like they were trying to make it to the halfway point And Stephen O'Hare was able to go an extra lap. Could that play a factor in how this race unfolds as O'Hare down pit road? This will leave only Kevin Smith as the only driver yet to come down pit road as Stephen O'Hare brings the American Touch-Up Mustang down. Finally picked up that first Cup win a couple weeks ago at Talladega.
Onto the pit lane. 4 tires and fuel coming up. Green flag pit stops ongoing after a sequence of almost 3 cautions in the opening 20 laps. Finally, almost 20-plus laps. We have been green flag and green flag pit stops beginning for some. O'Hare in the pit lane. Lundberg on the pit lane. And again, those drivers having to pit. Peterson and Anderson are the leaders. There's Harris and Tyler King battling for 12th and 13th. Samuel on the racetrack. Good run for those cars, but they're mid-pack right now, just after halfway, as Frank Harris looks like he's dirt tracking it off turn 4 a moment ago.
Yeah, Frank Harris is certainly having a handful for himself. He pitted back on lap 15, and that was just for fuel. He pitted back on lap 6 for tires for the 11, so he's on a lot older tires than some of the drivers that he's around, so he's a lot feeling like a dirt track, slipping and sliding for the 11. But for Tyler King, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Just gain little bits and pieces of positions for this 21 team. But, I mean, it's going to be a long day for himself, because you can see on our ticker on the left, there's a ton of blue drivers ahead of Tyler King that King needs to figure out how to get in front of, because he came in 11th in points, meaning he's going to need a big boost for these next couple of races if he wants to move on to the round of 8. As you can see here, playoff picture coming into tonight's race. That 21 all the way down at the bottom, 3 points out, but still needing a good day as more drivers coming into pit road.
Yeah, there's the cutoff again. Remember, 12. Who's going to go to the round of 8? There's 12 drivers right now in the playoffs. You've got one guy in green. And here comes Kevin Smith, the man that's dominated, looking really good in ARCA. Chris White right behind him. And they're pitting just after halfway as well.
Kevin Smith, this is his first pit stop. Everybody now has finally been on pit road at least once. Kevin Smith, with the assistance, like Sam mentioned, of those 3 cautions earlier, able to go 43 laps. Sam, he was able to go 3 laps longer than both West Family Racing and the 41 of O'Hare. Kevin Smith able to go 43 laps, 3 laps longer than anybody else.
Yeah, and this is now putting Kevin Smith in a very slim margin of possibly being able to make it from here. This is probably the furthest you can be if you're going to be making it to the end. I think a lot of the drivers said if you were in the draft saving while being aggressive, 35 to 37 was the window we were looking for. So right now, Smith, right on the brink of making it, but he might have to do a lot of fuel saving late in this run if he can make it to the end.
Getting so much better week after week. Greg, I'd love to bring you in on this, bud, because we saw last year when he made his debut, and he struggled, and he crashed, and he had engine issues, and just so many problems, virtual contending. And now it's amazing what a year makes. He's won ARCA races, 3 ARCA wins. He won his first career Northwest iRacing Truck Series race at the Indy Road Course last week, and now he's looking for that first Cup win. And man, can I say this honestly, fellas? Greg, he's a championship contender in the 00.
Even going back to last year, he always showed speed. He was always one of the fastest cars or fastest trucks on the speed chart, but he was just having a hard time finding that racing groove. Now, an off-season to work on things and the ARCA series to help him out with that as well has proved dividends in a big way for Kevin Smith. And here he is again, second in points entering here in the Cup Series. Finally a win in the Truck Series to go along with 3 ARCA wins on the year. And it's only a matter of time before Kevin Smith in that 00 car picks up a Cup win as well. And it could come in a big way here in the playoffs. And here he is looking very strong again. And he, like Sam said, has put himself in a position where if this thing does stay under the current conditions for the rest of the race, he may have a shot at going the distance here.
Definitely watch them now as they're just after halfway. Lap 46 of 80. Peterson still out in front, Anderson in second. And here's the thing, Samuel, we know everybody in the top 11, they're going to have to pit again, or at least the top 9 for that matter.
Yeah, we're really looking at a lot of these guys coming into pit road. We've already seen James Thurston, who was in the top 10, come in looking like Ryan Bloom, now about to hit pit road. A lot of these drivers are now trying to pick when do they really want to come into pit road. Around lap 49 to about 51 is the window we're looking at, because we've been green for so long, for these drivers to aim at for their next and final pit stop for these drivers if we stay green. So still a lot of pressure on how these drivers are going to attack this race, but up front, Blake Peterson and Caden Anderson, they're looking like the favorites as long as they don't make any mistakes coming into pit road.
Vining is in, Hutchinson is in. Pit stops, Ryan Bloom coming in. He's now exiting the 25. Here comes Caden Anderson standing in the pit lane. This will bring out a caution.
And BJ Tidrick,
Caution's done.
Tidrick saw there was going to be a caution and pulled out quickly.
And you know what? They might have said before, Caden Anderson calls cautions intentionally. I'm sorry, guys. You can't say that that was intentional. I think he was trying to lock up the brakes to avoid from speeding on pit road, and in doing so, he spun it out, and then he got right back on the racetrack, and honestly, that's a smart move.
Yeah, by no means was this one intentional, as Anderson, you see him backing it down to try to come on the pit road, realizes right there, oh, I got to back down a little bit more, and just locked up the brakes, nose into the wall. What heads-up driving there by that Verizon Ford of BJ Tidrick to realize, oh, hey, the caution is going to come out and work to the outside. Now, Caden Anderson Racing and BJ Tidrick, they are in the same communications right now. They have radio communications of the 72 car. I think he may have been out of fuel, guys, because he is on the access road very, very slow right now in that number 72. I think he had to pull out onto the racetrack to avoid getting himself in the worse off position, but I think he may be out of fuel in that 72. Here he is creeping around right now.
Well, we'll get everybody back to decide who is going to pit, who will pit. That's the question right now, as, of course, Caden Anderson limping down onto the pit lane. A couple of other cars coming down to the pit lane for service. And we'll see how this all goes down. His cars are on the pit lane coming in. Other contenders. Anderson can't make it. Oh, my goodness. He can't make it, Samuel, on the pit lane. Well, okay, he's back going again. I thought he stalled.
I think he had to let the 72 pass him before he came down pit road.
Yeah, trying to make sure that the right drivers were in front of who needed to be in right, so there weren't any penalties given for all the drivers that are coming in pit road. That's why Caden came to almost complete stop, letting everyone else go. But yeah, fuel certainly was right at the limit when they were coming into pit road at that moment. And man, this caution saved some drivers, but certainly hurt Caden Anderson.
And pit stops are ongoing. We're seeing Toby Ritters, Caden Anderson, and other drivers coming to the pit lane. And we welcome you back inside our broadcast position on LSRTV. A little bit better, but I still got the ghost. I've still got the shadow behind me, but it is a little bit better. I'm Wesley Outland. Samuel Dyer is alongside, as well as Greg Rentz. There we go. I got to remember to go all the way that way, all the way from there. And then Samuel has Greg all the way at the far end. And we welcome you to our coverage on LSR TV. Samuel, pretty good race so far. A clean race for the most part. No problems, no issues. Once we had that three cautions in the opening 20 laps. But since then, we've seen sheer domination between Blake Peterson and obviously Caden Anderson playing this game of cat and mouse. But we had some drivers earlier that showed some strengths as well. Do you think we're going to see a different outcome now after this caution in the restart?
Yeah, I mean, this pit stop right now is kind of what's going to be changing a lot of this factor because we were seeing on that last restart before we had that long green flag run of drivers picking and choosing when they wanted to come in for tires, and that's why we saw Kane Anderson and Lake Peterson pull away was because they were on the fresher rubber, and now everyone's going to be on an equal footing, so it's going to be a nice duel to see who can really hold off everyone else because. Now's the question. Do you want to ever come in for a pit stop if we have a lot more cautions coming out? Or do you just stick with what you got and see if you want to save or attack early?
Greg Grants.
You know, this race has really set itself up. We had kind of a pace-setting first couple of 20 laps, like Sam hit on there with the early cautions. We had 3 in the first 20 laps. Then we had just about a 30-lap green flag run there, so kind of in a tale of two races. So now you're getting into these final 30 laps. If you're the driver, you got to be asking yourself, are we going to see more cautions like we saw in the first half of that run, or are we going to see a long green flag run like the second half of that run? And some of these guys like Stephen O'Hare, guys like Kevin Smith, these guys have set themselves up that they thought maybe we were going to go green the rest of the way. Now they have to try to figure everything out for themselves. We saw some of them stay out. Kevin Smith stayed out, so he's going to be starting near the front. This is going to be interesting now because the whole strategy game has been thrown out the window once again.
Samuel, we got the lights off on the pace car. We're going to go back to green flag. Do we see, obviously, some more drivers get up there? Or do you think it's now going to be between Lake Peterson and Caden Anderson? Even after Caden had that slip up, he was smart enough to say, I spun out, the caution's out. It's not like short track racing in iRacing or NASCAR. You go back to the back, you go to the tail. No, he kept on going. So he tries to relinquish his position. We'll see what he can do. We'll watch that as right now Kevin Smith and Stephen O'Hare ready to bring the field back to green flag. Here we go. Kevin Smith, just like ARCA on Friday night, Sammy D gone into turn 1.
Yeah, the big thing, where did Lake Peterson and also Kane Anderson go? Kane Anderson back in 17th. Sean, that of Lake Peterson going to be in 6th, battling with that of Sean Breisman, but you're seeing the mix-up. It's 2 wide, 3 wide, back battling for 8th place. You got to be careful as Dan West Jr. gets pushed off almost into the grass.
That was by Breitzman in the 46, who was trying to... He was trying to keep West at bay. West had to have all 4 tires there on the apron and was still able to make the pass on Breitzman, who's now under heavy fire from Chris White and company. As a bobble back there. That's Devin West in that new look number 5.
I was going to say, man, were they just sticking it 4 and 5 wide just a moment ago down the back straightaway before they got to the short chute in turn 3? And they were. And now they're going 3 wide. They're getting frantic. 30 laps to go here in the Brickyard 200. 51 in now. Kevin Smith, Stephen O'Hare, Lake Peterson, James Thurston, Ryan Bloom, top 5, Sammy D back into turn 2.
The reason why we're feeling this intensity is everyone recognizes if you're up front, you practically can hold off everyone else. Lake Peterson went from 7th, he's now up to 3rd, and he's going to be fighting strong on that of Stephen O'Hare, trying to get up into 2nd place. As that of Kevin Smith, he felt like he should have won last week at the road course for the Cup cars. He has a shot to rebound and get a win, possibly at the Indy Oval.
Here comes Peterson to the inside of O'Hare, but look at behind him. James Thurston, who was in the wall earlier today, he is now fighting for a 3rd spot on the podium, but look at West Jr. He's going to go 3 wide down the front stretch.
1 car in green. He has made it into the next round of 8. Everyone else is in the top 10. 5 cars in blue, 1 car in red. On the outside looking in, Stephen O'Hare. But Samuel, if he wins in the 41, he is in the playoffs. Bottom line.
Oh, 1 car in the wall going down in the infield.
James Vining and going around in 333. Back of the pack. Caution out for the 5th time at Indy.
He caught the wall off of turn number 2, very similar to what we saw out of James Thurston in number 2, but unlike Thurston, he was not able to make the save off of turn number 2, and he just pile drove the inside wall here, guys.
Caution out for the 333. James Vining, the cat man, he simply, man, it looks like Greg, it looks like he fishtailed coming off the corner. Watch this. Looks like he fishtailed it, overcorrected, and smacked it off the wall. Oh, my goodness. And luckily, nobody else was there when he got back around at the track.
think he may have saw some Pulse poppers down there on the racetrack and tried to make his way around him there, but unfortunately, it ends his day in the inside wall. And again, great work by our crew on that Pulse poppers instant replay, but we're under caution once again. Working lap number 54 of 80. Kevin Smith had gotten out to the lead on that last restart, and it opened up a little bit of a gap over Lake Peterson. Now, guys, the question remains, now Peterson's going to be starting alongside of him. What can Kevin Smith do?
Do you pit, Samuel? That's the question also.
I mean, right now, I think a lot of the drivers, there is no idea of thinking about pitting for most of these drivers. Their goal is just to stay out. I think if there's any driver that's concerned about fuel, might be Carl Burke, who's back at 11th, but because we're under pacing, might be able to save enough fuel. But right now, everyone's practically on equal footing, except for Kevin Smith. Smith is still on those older tires that are about, 6 laps older. So there is a shot that, Smith is under, a lot of pressure right now, but O'Hare and also many others coming into pits.
Wow.
This is a little surprising to see from them.
Well, Devin West changed his mind and stayed on track, but here comes Stephen O'Hare, the Talladega winner, to make it into the playoffs. You've also got Christopher White, Jeff Stabnow, lap 55 of 80, and they're coming down to the pit lane, Greg.
The big surprise for me here was Stephen O'Hare in the number 41. He was one of the last drivers to come down pit road in that Ford Mustang. Only Kevin Smith stayed out longer. It's only been 15 laps since Stephen O'Hare was last on pit road. I figured he was trying to make something happen, but with the way these cautions have fallen so far the second half of the race, since he came down, he might say, you know what? This might be the trend for the rest of the day. I'm going to go ahead, get some tires now, and try to work my way through the field.
And my apologies, it was not Jeff Stabnow, it was Carl Burke, Big Daddy in the 53 that came down to the pit lane. Jeff Stabnow. Ghost cars on the front end look so alike, but again, he is on the racetrack currently in the 10th position. Let's give you your rundown now with 25 laps to go next time by. Kevin Smith is leading, Lake Peterson is second, Dan West Jr. third, James Thurston fourth, Sean Brightsman fifth, Ryan Bloom is in sixth, Devin West is seventh, Tyler King right now, Samuel Dyer, the top 8 here in Indianapolis.
Then in 9th, we're going to be finding that of John Ottenbacher. 10th, find Jeff Stabnow. Troy Daggett going to be in 11th. Toby Ritter is going to be in 12th. 13th finds Kaden Anderson. BJ Tidrick in 14th. 15th finds that of Aaron Cooper. And Stephen O'Hare, after coming out of pit road, going to be in 16th. Over to you, Greg.
As the rest of the field sitting under caution. Sorry, guys, don't have the lineup directly in front of me here. Kevin Smith leading the way. And 24 cars took the green flag.
Yeah, Christopher White is right now in the 17th position. Carl Burke, 18th. Judd Wakefield, 19th. Gary Nichols was in 20th. He just came back down onto the pit lane. Russ Lundberg, 21st. Frank Harris, James Vining, and Scott Hutchinson currently the full field rundown there. So, Greg, what do you think we're going to see, man, these final 25 laps? Do you think this is just ramping up the intensity, or do you feel like we're setting ourselves up for what me and Samuel talked about all last week, a fuel mileage strategy finish, or do you think these cautions are just going to multiply and make this be more of a shootout?
I'm going with B, Wesley. It's playoff time. If this was a regular season race, I would say, you know what, maybe we could see it go to the end. But these guys are starting to race for their playoff lives now. They want to get themselves locked into the round of 8. So I think we're going to see the intensity ramped up. I do not think by any means we've seen the last visit of the Banana Republic flag tonight. I think we're in for at least 2 more cautions, I would say. I think we're going to see at least 2 more.
Samuel, do you think we need to change our strategy, or do you still think it's going to come down to fuel mileage?
I mean, with the timing of that caution with Kaden Anderson coming out, it threw away really all the fuel mileage thoughts that we were going to have. It is all about racing hard at this point. But with Stephen O'Hare, Chris White, and Carl Burke all coming into pit road, they're going to be the ones that are going to be hard charging through this field, and they're going to be the ones to watch out if they're going to be making any type of reckless moves that could get other cars in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very fun. I think everybody that's watching and listening is going to be in for a wild ride in race number 2 of season 3 of the Cup cars here on LSRTV Community Radio Network and the playoffs here in the Brickyard 200. Pace car is coming in. We're ready. Less than 25 laps to go. Down to the Geico restart zone. It's going to be Kevin Smith, Lake Peterson. Some of the top stars and winners of ARCA and trucks so far this year. Green flag goes back in the air. The West family's there. DWJ back in the top 3. Brightsman back up there. Thurston. Here they go back to turn 1, and they're all single file going into Greg.
You see the field top 3, 1, 2, 3, single file, but side by side, look who's back in the mix, guys. Here comes Sean Brightsman into number 46, the defending Cup Series champion. The Bryce Boutique Toyota falls in line behind Thurston right now, but took a little bit of a stab at it. Ryan Bloom back there as well, but the defending Cup Series champion has crept his way back into the top 5. Meanwhile, up front, Peterson taking a peek on Smith. He's got help from West Jr.
And Samuel, remember, Sean Brightsman won the ARCA race here at Indy on Friday night.
Yeah, he did, but for a moment there, thought maybe he was going to throw his whole entire race away. Got extremely loose, and now you're seeing everyone dodging and weaving, trying to make as many abrasive moves. It's Ryan Bloom to the inside, trying to make the pass on the 46, and they're trying not to make contact going through turn 1.
Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman battling for that spot. That's in the top 5. Also, I saw Toby Ritter's Clifford got slung like a rag doll. Went to the bottom of the racetrack down the front straightaway. He'll now hold it together. He's got a problem. He's off the pace down on the inside of the racetrack. Toby Ritter's in trouble in 23.
Trying to hold
Trying to get back
this.
going up to speed. Trying to get back going up to speed, guys, but he had a problem there, Greg, a moment ago.
These are also guys with fresh tires that are getting around him right now. O'Hare, Burke, those two pitted on that last caution. And Ritter's has some damage right now on the right rear of that number 23. So combining the damage now with the fresh tires of the other cars, Ritter's losing some track position right now. And again, we've talked about it time and time again. The aero package, so sensitive with these cars. Just the tiniest amount of damage can mean disaster for your day.
And as we were talking about,
disaster.
That of Toby Ritter's up front, change for the lead. Lake Peterson back up front.
Look at this guy on the cars fighting for it. Drafting inside, outside. You can't go 3 lanes blocking them. You got to pick 1 lane and stay there, but they're trying to cut the air off between Lake Peterson, back out in front, winner of the road course, trying to sweep the Cup Series at Indy. He's in P1, looking for his 8th win of the year. Kevin Smith in 2nd. Dan West Jr. 3rd. Thurston, Brightsman, top 5. Here comes Sunwest on the outside, battling Sean as they cross the line, and we close in on 20 laps to go. Got a car sideways in the back, saving it. No caution. Boy, that was scary. Wakefield, Cooper, Ritter's all going there. There's some handling issues. We still stay green, though. Greg out of turn 2 on the short shoot.
The intensity is definitely ramped up, Wesley, but they seem to be doing a good job right now, behaving themselves, still racing with some patience. There it is! Tyler King gets the Ryan Bloom in the number 25. They both go down into the infield above the racing surface now, or below the racing surface. We stay green. That number 25 is stopped below the racing surface. Gets it going. On the racing surface, trying to get it back up to speed. We stay green. But, man, that number 25 not moving very fast. I'm watching that ticker to see if it turns yellow.
Ryan
Guys,
Bloom.
that's important. That is so important that there wasn't a yellow there. As you can tell, it's not just cloud cover. The sun is starting to set, and there are no lights here to help out these drivers. Sunlight could be the factors. We got 20 laps to go.
20 laps to go. You got to wonder if Ryan Bloom is still on the racetrack in that position, as he was off the pace right in front of the field on that race course a moment ago. They'll hold it together. That's where he lost it at. He's back rolling again. No caution after contact with Tyler King. Ryan Bloom, couple of guys falling back. They wrecked below the bottom of the apron. No yellow flag. We're under 20 laps to go when they come back to the start-finish line. It's Lake Peterson, Kevin Smith, Dan West Jr., James Thurston, Devin West. Somebody's got to make a move right now. They slither single file back down the front straightaway with 19 to go, Greg, into turn number 1.
Peterson again trying to break that draft off of Kevin Smith. But look at the rest of the cars behind him. Smith, West, Thurston, Younger West, Breisman. They're staying in line with each other. Peterson was the only one trying to break the draft. Everyone else is Smith's in the wall on the 0-0 off of turn number 1. Keep your eyes now on that black and green 55 as he takes a peek to the high side. That could be the advantage he needed, but not this time. Smith able to keep trucking. But again, look at this right now. Peterson trying to break the draft in the 0-9. Everyone else staying in line until right there West takes a peek. Everyone else staying in line right now. They're just trying to reel Peterson in. But West figured, you know what? I got a shot to take the position. Smith may have a little bit of damage on the 0-0. I'm going to take it and take second spot. The pole sitter, Dan West Jr., back to second, trying to track down Blake Peterson.
Making that move back down the front straightaway. Peterson, West, Thurston, Smith. Flip-flop those spots. Put now Devin West to number 4. Breitzman falling back to 5th. 18 to go. Sean Breitzman trying to make a run back after winning ARCA Friday night, Samuel. He's on the West chute in the top 5 into turn 2.
Yeah, and you know, we've got our top 6 all in this group trying to make the charge forward as we're riding on board with that of Dan West Jr. And you can kind of see all the other drivers trying to snake with the 55, trying to work with one another, recognizing Blake Peterson is the man we're trying to get by currently, but a lot of work needs to be put on together as each lap ticks away. Dan West Jr., he's on the same tire set as that of Blake Peterson, so both drivers pitted back on lap 48. We'll see if Dan West Jr. maybe protected his tires a little bit more and can attack Blake Peterson in the 0-9.
A little razzle-dazzle, and if it is time to go, you better go now. It's go time. Hit that pedal down to the inside. Here's Anderson going after Stapp now. This is going on for 7th and 8th position. 17 laps to go as they cross the yard of bricks. They're on the east end of the speedway into turn number 2, and it's still Peterson out in front.
Jeff Stapp, now you're watching him, and then number 24 trying to fight his way back up. Again, was below the cut line entering tonight, but the problems, especially for Ryan Bloom, that's going to really help the guys in red. Anderson, Stabnow, O'Hare, and King. Remember, Anderson's in must-win territory, guys. Serving that 1-race suspension last week. He needs to win one of these next 3 races to get himself into the second round. It's happened before. Look at Sean Breitzman. He was in a must-win position, and he wound up going to the championship by winning that clutch race at Texas. Anderson's going to have to find a repeat of that if he wants to get into the next round here. But the rest of these guys, Stabnow, O'Hare, and King, they're all scored ahead of Ryan Bloom. That's going to be big, especially for Stabnow, who's the highest scored red driver of those 3 that did race last week. That could be a big help. He's also got White and Tidrick behind him as well. Stabnow could very well have himself above the cutoff line here before the end, as you now see the leaders beginning to really try to snake their way down the backstretch.
Laps winding down, someone break out of line. The question is when. 15 to go. Peterson, West, Thurston, West, and Breitzman. The lyrics to that song continue as they work their way to the west end of the speedway. Samuel Dyer into turn number 3.
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the drivers and where they are right now, got to be heartbreaking for the 0-0 of Kevin Smith. Once again, 2 last week and today, it's damage that is hurting the 0-0 from a great finish that he could have had. And now just trying to fight out and defend to stay in the top 10 is the 0-0, that of Kevin Smith. As Stabnow trying to figure out how to attack the 0-0, finally getting to the bottom quarter panel, and Jeff Stabnow, contact made!
Whoa, trouble! Breitzman!
He's right at the front of the field. We're going caution.
Oh my goodness, Kevin Smith losing it. He bounced off Jeff Stabnow, I believe. And caution is out. They were fighting for position somewhere in the top 10. It was for 7th and 8th. Contact, Jeff Stabnow getting into Kevin Smith. And it all comes unglued with 15 to go. Caution's out. Samuel, you saw it break loose in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching from overhead, and you just saw that of Jeff Stabnow. It's late in the race. He wants to make sure he doesn't lose the draft, gets into the grass, which pushes him up, and that's where it all goes wrong. Luckily, no one else hit the 0-0 when he came sliding across the field, because honestly, that could have been a lot worse than it was.
Can we ride on board extended replay with Kevin Smith? You ask, you shall receive. Extended replay presented by Pulse, Poppers, Fish and Lures, and Greg Rentz. This is going to be interesting right here.
On board Yeah, take a look right about here off of turn number 2 is going to be the contact.
He never saw Stab. Now listen.
Right there. And then
He never
spins up
saw
right
it.
in front of the field. And everybody does a fantastic job getting through that. Amazing driving there by everybody else to avoid getting through that. But man, Kevin Smith, I think he just saw his entire life flash before his eyes.
3 words, gentlemen. Do you pit? 14 to go at Indianapolis.
I mean, the only driver now, are the ones that are further back that are on the lead lap that still have a set, such as that of Toby Ritters and others, but
whoa, they're
a
all
lot of
coming
mind games
in.
have happened, but everyone's coming in.
Wow.
Oh, someone stayed out. Who was that that stayed out there?
Someone stayed out, though. Who was it that stayed out? I want to think it's Chris White. Chris White stayed out. Everyone else is coming in. Carl Berg stayed out in 53.
Also staying out.
Did you expect this, Greg Rentz? Holy cow. 13 to go. They're all coming in.
No, I figured we would have seen a few more drivers stay out and try to go the distance here, or at least try to set themselves up a little bit more. But man, that surprises me that we see so many drivers. Oh, who's that having problems on pit road? It was a red car. Someone had to back up and hit the wall.
Is that, oh
was
my
that
goodness,
Anderson?
Was that Clifford? Or Andrew? Yeah. Race off pit road. Phoenix Design 09. It was Clifford. It was Big Red. Toby Ritters with a problem in the 23. Man, oh man. 13 laps to go. Our final commercial break. We will take you to the checkered flag. It should be a shootout. Chris White involved in an accident earlier in the going, rolling the dice, gambling as the rest of the cavalry come jumping in the pond for pit stops, and a shootout awaits. We'll find out who the winner will be when we return. Coverage of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series, round 2 of the playoffs. LSRTV, CRN, Community Radio Network. We're back from Indy in the checkered flag when we return.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Laps to go. Shootout time. Samuel Dyer, Greg Ransom, Wesley Outland. We welcome you back to coverage of the Brickyard 200. Greg, did you think it'd come down to this? And let's be honest, my friend, it ain't over yet. We still got about another 30 miles of this chaos left to go.
Oh, I had a feeling we were not done with the yellow flag, and boy, it changed everything up, as now a little bit of a different pit strategy on some of these guys. Chris White stayed out. Lake Peterson, the 09, who was leading the way at the time of caution, he now finds himself in 4th. You're on board with Chris White right now, who has been quietly running up there at the top. Has not yet led tonight, though. He'll be in control, though, when we take the green flag. There will be 11 laps to go when the green flag falls. You're on board right now with Chris White. You see the iRacing sedan pull in. 11 laps to go, and look in the mirrors. Sean Bryceman right up on the back bumper. It's go time here at Indianapolis.
The ARCA Friday night winner ready to go back through the gearbox is virtually green flag back out. Chris White gets a good jump on everybody, but for how long? Brightsman to the inside, Burke on the outside, Peterson, West, they're clearing by 53. There's contact. Lake Peterson, winner of the road course, goes around. Couple other cars get involved. Caution out again.
There was a big
Judd Wakefield caught up in it.
big list of
Frank
cars
Harris
right there.
involved. Oh, man.
Right off the green flag. Taking a look at the restart. You see White get a big jump. Now this all started right around 4th position. Watching that second car on the outside. Just made his move to the inside right there. Lake Peterson. Dan West Jr. getting a run there on the bottom. Carl Burke right there in the 53. This is where it starts.
Oh, Burke got into Peterson in the short chute. Wow, how in the hell did Devin West weasel through that accident on the top of the wall? Oh, my goodness.
Kevin Smith got a piece of it. Judd Wakefield involved.
Watch the 5 car, guys. Watch how the 5 somehow got around Lake Peterson, and he was right in the path of the tornado. Samuel, watch this. How did he do it?
I mean, there's moments where you just gotta close your eyes and hope and pray that there's a clearing as we're riding on board with the 5, Devin West.
Watch this.
Well, he was already bobbling there with Caden Anderson, and then that happens.
Oh,
Oh, he did
I
get a
think he
piece.
got a little damage in the right rear. Maybe a little damage in the right rear. Wow.
Got just the slightest little piece of it right there.
Oh, my goodness. A little damage in the right rear. 10 laps to go. Greg, does anybody pit that didn't pit the last time? Do you think Chris White might consider pitting? No. I guess that question's answered.
No, you didn't get enough. You didn't get enough gauge on whether or not this was going to work. So if you're committed to the strategy, you got to give it at least one more go. And this is going to help these guys that didn't pit because now there's going to be that fewer laps on the ticker that they have to go now. So you got to get a little bit less out of the tires now than you would have had we stayed green with 11 to go. We're inside 10 to go now. 9 to go. We're going to be looking at probably 7, maybe 6 to go when we go back green for the next restart. So that's going to help these guys like White, Brightsman, and company that stayed out under that last caution. Look who else has crept up into the top 5. Say hello to BJ Tidrick in the 72 Verizon Ford. He's up in the top 5.
Samuel Dyer, you talked about the fact of the sun setting. The temperatures might be changing these cars and their strategies. Obviously, you know, do you feel like Chris White thinks his car is not that used up? It's still got a lot more potential left in, and that's why he didn't pit. Do you think he does have a shot to hold these guys off, like Brightsman, like Dan West Jr., all coming after him? Tidrick, you know he's hungry. He hasn't won since last July when he won that crazy race at Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, for Chris White, I mean, the situation of when he stayed out, he was running around 6th or 7th position. He felt like, hey, if I stayed out, I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to be up front and have a shot to win or even get a top 3 finish instead of pitting and trying to work the hardest way forward. And right now, I think this is a great shot for Chris White. Because of how aggressive everyone else is going to be running, the cautions are going to come out, and as the lead car, you can get the best launch, get ahead of everyone else, and get away from all the chaos until you hit the backstretch when everyone else is on your tailpipes. But I think Chris White's in a great spot. But Greg, like you were noting on, BJ Tidrick, he's our biggest mover so far, up 18 positions from where he started, running in 4th. We'll see if the 72 can get himself a top 5 finish or even a top 3 finish, because BJ, he's doing great currently in the points. He comes in 6th. This is a fabulous way for himself to continue on the points, as we are really, this counts as the halfway of the round of 12 through our first stage of the playoffs.
You know, I think back, Sam, to last year. Wesley, you were there with me and Justin Prince on the call of these cup races. BJ Tidrick made it to the Final Four by points racing. Did not win a playoff race. Only had that one win to lock himself in at Darlington, but he made it all the way to the Final Four. He did it by
That's right.
Points Racing, showing up when it counted, and he's doing the same thing again here tonight.
He certainly is. And, of course, remember what Sean Brightsman had to do to win the championship. Missed a week because of moving from Puyallup, Washington down to Tucson, Arizona. He had to win. He won the final race at Talladega to punch himself into the championship 4, and then he won a unforgettable finale at Phoenix that honestly, gentlemen, took almost a month and a half to fix, because if you remember, we missed a week. I think it was here in Indianapolis. There were some technical issues, and we had to reset it. Or was it Homestead? I can't remember. I think it was ending. But anyhow, the season did not end until almost January of this year. And the champion was Sean Brightsman in the Cup Series. Dan West Jr. in the Truck Series. This will be 7 laps to go. Buckle in, hold on tight. It's not done yet at the Brickyard. Christopher White looking inside. Sean Brightsman outside. There is West. There is Tidrick. And Anderson, he's back up in the dogfight in the top 5. Green flag back in the air. Sammy D. Brightsman trying to close in for the lead on White as they hit the short chute to turn 2.
Brightsman just has to be patient. Make sure he gets the best launch out of turn 2 and get by this 83 as soon as possible. But you're going to be seeing the snaking, different drivers trying to utilize the driver in front of them that went down low as a toe. And you see Brightsman not even wanting to challenge what the 83 was doing. But it's going to be on the inside. BJ Tidrick trying to go for 3rd.
We're watching this blocking going on inside and outside, Greg. That's going to happen, but it can't last for long. Greg, Chris White's got to pick a lane. He's got to stay with it. If not, he might lose control of the car. 6 to go at the line.
But the problem is he doesn't want to stay too far in line, because then Brightsman's going to be able to pick up on it. You're on board with Brightsman and looking at him, trying to stay in the tire tracks as good he can on that number 83 of Chris White. 6 laps to go. You're on board with Brightsman right now. If you're Sean Brightsman, you're in an okay position. You've got the blue bar right now, which means you're above the cutoff line. Do you want to go for it all out, or do you want to try to hang tight and let the race come to you? 6 laps to go, or are you going to make your move right now? Sam, you're in the driver's seat right now with the 46. Are you waiting until the end, or are you trying to get by as quick as you can?
I mean, you can tell he is trying his best to stay as low as possible, but the apron keeps on hurting the 46. And the longer this run goes on, you see him looming in 3rd. It's Caden Anderson that's slowly inching his way closer. That 37, he's looking for a shot to win as we're coming to 5 laps to go.
5 laps to go. Open hand from the flagman. White under attack, trying to hold off Sean Brightsman. Brightsman peeking down to the inside as they go into turn number 1.
Remember, Caden Anderson in that number 37 car, red 37, right behind him in 3rd place, must-win situation. He needs to get a win sometime in these next 3 races counting tonight. He wants to get it done as soon as possible. Get that monkey off his back.
Anderson outside, contact with Brightsman, and those two have a little history together. Down for that 2nd spot. Tidrick trying to weasel down to the inside and get around Devin West. Brightsman drifts up in front of Anderson. Meanwhile, honestly, Samuel, with 4 to go when they come to the line, Chris White says, have at it, fellas. I'm in stealth mode. He's gone. 4 to go at Indy. Somebody's got to make a move. It's still White out in front.
It looked like that if Sean Brightsman wasn't willing to get aggressive, bump around, move around that of the 83. But Caden Anderson, we know he is willing to get aggressive at times to make some moves. I would not be surprised if he gives just a little bit of a bump to the 83 to just let him know, hey, I'm here and I'm willing to make a move. Or he might even do it right now with the momentum. Here comes Caden Anderson on the back bumper. The 37 to the outside. Will he deke it to the inside into 3?
Going back to what I was talking about a moment ago with Brightsman and how he could kind of afford to hang back a little bit. Anderson's a must-win. He has to get this win here in one of these next 3 races. He's going to be a lot more aggressive than, say, Brightsman would have. Taking a peek now to the inside of Chris White. 3 laps to go. When they get to the line and Anderson taking a peek, he's taking another peek. Stephen O'Hare going 3 wide behind him. Here comes Brightsman, though. He's going to try the outside line, and now Anderson has to choose. Okay, stay on the attack or go on defense. He chooses defense.
Yeah, Anderson has to throw the block in front of Brightsman, and we got some cars sideways in the back.
Whoa!
Trouble!
He put him in the wall.
No, hold it together. No caution.
Oh, Brightsman
my
got
goodness.
Bryceman caught the apron,
They hold it
and this is
together.
going to help White.
Guys, they about wrecked in the back behind the top 5. It is crazy chaos all over the racetrack. 3 to go. No caution. White on the defensive, holding everybody at bay into turn 3 on the west end of the speedway.
Caden Anderson's got to be concerned. Brushing the wall is certainly going to be hurting the 37 on the straightaway speed. Now the question is, how good of a run can he get through these 1 and 2? If he can get a solid run through these corners, or might even attack right now. Dinking it high, low. He's trying to get to the lower quarter panel. Here comes Caden Anderson, but Sean Bryceman's also there, going into 1.
Dan West Jr. and Lake Peterson on pit road, guys.
Yes, we're watching that
Dan West Jr.
side by
and Lake
side,
Peterson
though.
on pit road.
2
That's
to
big
go.
though, because West
Dan
Jr. is a playoff driver. That's gonna drop him out to 15th position. Huge playoff implications there for that 55 car being on pit road.
We'll watch it. They're in the pits. We got to watch what's on the racetrack now. White's there. A 3-car battle for second. Here comes now a 4-car battle. 5 cars for the win. And Indy into turn number 3. It's White out in front by 2 car lengths. Breitzman is there. Anderson is there. O'Hare, Thurston. Someone's got to slither out of the way and make a daring move. To the line they go. CRN 1 to go. Pick your poison. Who's going to win it next time around? Samuel Dyer, white flag. They're in turn 1 for the final time.
Chris White just needs to continue what he's been doing. Stay low, block the inside. Do not let anyone get below you, and you can defend this even on older tires. He's been doing it perfectly for these past 5 laps, but he's going to have Caden Anderson and Sean Bryceman coming into turn 3. This is where the match is going to happen. He's either going to hold off or he's going to be passed.
He's a defending winner of this race. He just has to try to get through 3 and 4 for the final time at Speed, Wesley, and he's going to make it back-to-back in the Brickyard 200.
Off the west end of the speedway, sunset at the Brickyard 200 coming out of turn number 4. White on the inside, Breitzman White behind him. He'll go to the outside, he'll throw the block, he'll go to the inside. Here they come, all ganging up on him. It's Chris White, he'll hold him off. He wins the Brickyard 200. Breitzman second, O'Hare third. What a finish. They respected each other. They didn't wreck each other. And Christopher White, having problems earlier in the race, comes back. And Samuel, my pick, wins. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I got the sweep last week. We'll see if you get it done this week. But I got to say, the move of the race had to be back when it was 3 laps to go, when we saw Caden Anderson on the outside with a major run. Could have made the pass on the outside, but Chris White moved up, kind of tapped the 37 into the outside wall, getting damage on Caden Anderson, as well as slowing down that of Breitzman, giving him just enough space and able to hold off the rest of the field.
Greg, your thoughts on this finish? It could have gone either way. These guys respected each other all the way down the line.
White had to go on defense for that entire last run. He did exactly what he needed to do, especially fending off that last-minute Hail Mary from Breitzman. He had Anderson taking a peek on the high side. White did what he had to do, and now he is through to the final 8 here. Something he didn't do last year, guys. Chris White able to advance in the playoffs.
You know, Samuel, I took your advice of what you were talking about the other week ago. Look at the stats, look at past races, look at the information in front of you before you just randomly make your pick. And though I was constantly thinking Sean Breitzman was going to be my pick because of his ARCA win on Friday night, I just felt that the race would be different because of the cars. And that's why I went with the CWR Racing Entry Ford Mustang of Chris White. But these guys put on one awesome race. I don't think they're going to do the high-five salute, or are they? Celebration for Chris White.
There they are.
That was Toby Ritters putting in a daring blow, and they're all crashing. Oh, my goodness, here we go. Yes. Wow.
Oh, there
wow.
they go.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Over in the pit
There you
road.
go. Let's go to the pit lane, buddy. Hey, almost in his parking
You ain't
stall.
getting anywhere
Look, he's
now.
almost in his parking pit stall. Look at, oh,
He's not going anywhere now, though.
Tyler King.
Who else is that? Wow, Tyler King winds up on pit road as well.
Well, fun times for sure. Here's your sawblade.com unofficial results from Indianapolis. Chris White, your winner. Sean Brightsman, second. He had to block him, bobbing, weaving, everything he could. Brightsman was coming. O'Hare was coming. Anderson was coming. And they're in fourth. James Thurston in the top five. What a finish. Toby Ritter, sixth. Frank Harris, seventh. Ryan Bloom, Greg Rentz, the top eight here at Indianapolis.
Devin West and John Ottenbacher, nice recovery for Otto in the number 89. He comes home with a top 10 on the evening. Moving now on to the next 10, the 11th through 20th position. As we see Troy Daggett for Team Ramrod, one of his best finishes of his career, coming home in the 11th spot. Aaron Cooper, another one, getting possibly a career best finish there. Kevin Smith, not going to be happy with how that one turned out. Leading laps, thought he had a shot at the win. Lake Peterson caught up in a late race incident. Tyler King in the number 21. BJ Titterick. And Sam, I'm going to let you finish it off, but take note of who's in 18th position. The guy who was leading most of the race early had to make that late race pit stop. That's why I was so concerned about that. Sam, 17th on back, but look who's in 18th.
Yeah, it's going to be that of Jeff Stabenow at 17th, Dan West Jr. in 18th, Gary Nichols in 19th, 20th going to be that of Russ Lundberg. But looking at, a lot of the drivers that were involved in this, a lot of playoff drivers finishing, last in the finishing order, but we're really close to one another. Kind of going to make it difficult to gain any positions, as it's going to be Jed Wakefield in 21st, Carl Burke going to be in 22nd, James Vining in 23rd, and Scott Hutchinson's going to finish out the rest of the field 39 laps down. But I think that's the biggest thing is, yes, a lot of struggle for that Dan West Jr., BJ Titterick, Lake Peterson, and others of down here. But gosh, it is such a recovery for the drivers that were above them, like a Caden Anderson, and also, looking at Ryan Bloom and others. It was a big switch up, and the points are going to be really close going into Iowa next week.
What a finish. Greg Rentz, it was great to have you back in the booth, my friend. I can't wait till Wednesday night. I know you got to get off because you've got some other obligations going on for tomorrow. But real quickly, give us your final assessment of this Cup race tonight at Indy. The Brickyard 200 did not disappoint.
So good to be back here, guys, and it was an awesome race to be back for. Chris White getting the win in a thrilling finish, holding off Brightsman, holding off Anderson. O'Hare throwing his name into the mix there at the end as well. Couldn't ask for a better return here to LSRTV. Definitely happy to be back. Looking forward to being here for the remainder of the playoffs. But, man, what an incredible race. Chris White doing what he had to do, going on defense there at the end. Fantastic work. Can't wait till Wednesday when we do it all again with the trucks.
Oh, and by the way, the S&B Cup Series is back. Their playoffs return Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 Eastern for the Northwest Truck Series from Indy as well. We're back in a moment, and we will grab a word with the top three. Chris White winning the Brickyard 200, the Pagoda, the Sunset, the Brickyard at Indianapolis. What a race it was on iRacing. We'll grab a word with the podium finishers when we return. Welcome back to coverage of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series, proudly presented by Tom Denchel Automotive Group and Greg Rentz in the booth. We enjoyed having him. I'm Wesley Outland. Samuel Dyer is alongside. We will grab a word with the top three finishers in a wild race here at the Brickyard in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. First up, Stephen O'Hare, Talladega winner, needing to win to go to the playoffs. He was right in the cusp of winning this thing. Crazy finish. Stefan, your take of the final 7 laps. It was a crazy event, especially down the stretch. And your take of just getting around Thurston and Anderson to finish third tonight.
Yeah, I felt like we really struggled most of the race, but there on that last run, got it hooked up and started making some ground. And really excited for the points. It's a great points race for us, and excited for Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, Stefan, coming into this race, yourself as well as Tyler didn't have the best run last week at the road course. Was the mentality coming into this race was just have a good points day?
I don't know. I think we were really thinking we were going to be a little bit more competitive out of the gate, and ran some practice earlier today and didn't feel like we were really all that competitive. So kind of changed our mindset going into the race, just trying to take it easy and save our cars for the end. And I think Tyler got caught up in some incidents there, and I managed to skate through, and it worked out.
Stefan, the competition in this series, obviously down the stretch for the playoffs and trying to race and win to advance into the round of 8 from the championship, or from the round of 12 to make it into the championship 4. Do you feel like if you could go back and change something in this race to try to win, what would you do?
Well, Chris and I picked up our last set of second to last set of tires at the same time, and he stayed out, and I came down and got my last set. So I'm thinking I probably should have stayed out there with him and started outside of him. But other than that, I think it was a good race. I think maybe if I had a couple more laps, I might have had something for Sean and Chris. But
all right, man.
Yeah.
Thank your sponsors on the Iowa next week.
On Iowa, yeah, got to thank American Touch-Up Paint. Find them on Amazon, Peels, and Nicole Bryan Photography. Also, big thanks to Tom Denchel Auto Group, you guys with LSRTV, and the Northwest Racing Series. Like you said, it's super, super competitive. There's a lot of great racers, so it's a lot of fun.
It was a fun time, and of course, Stephen O'Hare will have another shot at these guys at Iowa Speedway, a track that's a short track that races like a super speedway for sure, next Monday night. And of course, he'll be here at Indy for the trucks on Wednesday. Stephen O'Hare, runner-up of the race, Sean Brightsman. He won ARCA on Friday night. He'll settle for second. Redeemed himself from some bad luck earlier. Sean, your take of surviving this race, being back in the hunt to win this race. What was the take of those final 5 laps? Because you just not get around Chris White because the rest of the pack of wolves was coming after you. What was your take?
Wow, what a crazy race. Holy moly. First off, big thanks to Bright's Boutique for sponsoring the Toyota Camry tonight, and LSRTV for being on the deck bid there. Oh man, so close to getting Chris, but you really had to time your passes, and most of the time you had to have help. And if you didn't have help with someone going with you, you probably weren't going to complete that pass completely. So it was bittersweet. Good points night. Super happy after the trouble that we had early. Just really difficult to pass tonight here at Indy.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, such a good run that you had here today. Second place finish. Coming into today's race after winning the ARCA series, did you come in with kind of feeling a little bit overconfident, or were you just feeling like, hey, let's just race like we have been?
It was probably a little overconfident with just not knowing how these cars would race. I didn't really get any practice with multiple cars out there or anything like that, so I was kind of forgot that the Cup cars have a couple different packages, and this one's more of the draft package.
A fun race. Sean, what do you think we're going to see at Iowa and Atlanta coming up? And, man, your take of either surviving to either get a win or to just try to get into the round 2 of the playoffs by points?
I look forward to Iowa. I think you're going to see a lot of tight racing, kind of like you saw tonight. A lot of people, there's a lot on the line here. Everybody's going for that championship and moving on to the round of 8. So I think you're going to see some blocking, some fencing, and just teammates probably working together as well as just everybody driving their guts out, racing 110% the whole race for the most part. So look forward to it. Can't wait to race Iowa, and got to thank again Bright's Boutique and LSRTV, Central Welding Supply, Tom Denschel Auto Group. Check TomDenschelAutoGroup.com for any Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. They're in Hermiston, Oregon, Prosser, Washington. Check them out if you're in the market for a new vehicle. They'll also ship out. So I know when I get my new vehicle shipped down here to Arizona, I will be buying from Tom Denschel Auto Group.
All right, buddy. Well, there you go. There is, again, Sean Brightsman from Puyallup, Washington. Now resides in, of course, Tucson, Arizona. He will finish in the number 2 position. A wild race tonight for the 46, coming back from a wreck to still come back and finish on the podium in second. Victory lane we go. He won here earlier in the year. He's won before. Charlotte winner as well, and I said he was going to be my pick tonight. Finally, I got one right. Chris White, what was tonight's race like? Congratulations to you, and you have punched your ticket in with this win in the Brickyard 200 to the championship round of 8.
Yeah, guys, it's a fantastic finish here. Of course, getting the win. It was a hard-fought win for sure. Indy's I'd probably say Indy's probably one of my favorite tracks. This version, not the road course version, but yeah, this track has been good to me. I've run well here pretty much every time I've come down here. So I had a strong car early on, and thought I had a good strategy set up there, and I got caught up in a wreck, which kind of set me back and kind of offset my strategy using tires and whatnot. So I had to rebound a little bit, and obviously it worked out. So hard-fought win for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, congratulations on the win, locking yourself to the next round. With this win, though, I mean, you had to take a gutsy call, staying out when you saw everyone else coming in. What was going through your mind when you saw everyone coming in and you decided to stay out?
Yeah, that's kind of the leader's worst nightmare, I guess, when you look up in your rearview mirror and there's really nobody behind you because everybody came down pit road. But honestly, the only thing I can tell you guys to set it straight was with about 25 laps to go, I had put my last set of tires on, so there's absolutely no reason for me to come down pit road at that time. I had what I had. Everything I had was on the car, and that's the honest to God truth. So I knew I was in for a long haul there, trying to hold these guys off with fresher tires.
Chris, what does it mean now, buddy, to get this win? Obviously, your 3rd win on the season, but to obviously punch your ticket into the next round of the playoffs. Whatever happens at Iowa, whatever happens at Atlanta, we know there are going to be some crazy races coming up. Whatever the outcome, you advanced into the round of 8.
Well, anybody that gets a win in the playoffs and advances, that's one of those little stress relievers. You just don't have to worry about it as much. But you take on the next race, that's the next race, and just try to get the best finish you can. I can honestly say Iowa is probably not my best track, probably one of my worst, and so it's good to get the win before going there. And Atlanta's a good track for me too. So I think we'll wrap up this round pretty solid. Next round looks a little I don't know how to say it, but a little interesting.
Well, that's, hey, man, Can we go back? Final question. I want you to thank your sponsors as well. Can you go back to when you got caught up in that accident? When I want to say, was it Sean Breitzman that might have sideswiped you? The accident earlier in the race when you guys were just racing for position. No, it was Jeff Stabnow actually. Having to get through that and getting through the bad luck and still having a shot on a fast repair to come back and win this thing. When did the confidence come back, knowing, hey, I can win. I can win this race now?
Well, I had fresh tires on, and I felt I could get back up there. I think I was in front of the 09 and the 37. I think the 55, the 5, and them guys kind of stayed out on older tires. So I'm thinking, well, I've got fresh tires. I think I can work myself around these guys, get up there, and I was moving forward. However, I believe it was the 51. I don't believe it was Jeff in the 24. I believe the 51 was to the inside of me. I think he got into my driver door, kind of turned me around, caused that wreck. I came down pit road, and believe it or not, only had about a minute of repairs. So I got that fixed without using the fast repair, but the car still didn't feel right, still felt like something was wrong. So I just went ahead, came down and got that fast repair done, and got the car set straight again. And lo and behold, it was fast again and paid off.
Sponsors, buddy, sponsors, thank them.
Definitely got to thank you guys, LSRTV, for each and every week. Long season, doing a fantastic job. Things are getting so much better race after race. Got to thank Tom Denchel Auto Group, as always, for coming on board this year and helping us out throughout the year. And got a new look on the car this race with White House Candle Co. It's something new that I've been working on for a few months. It's officially launching October 1st. Handmade, homemade candles and wax melts. You can find them on Facebook now, White House Candle Co. And the website should be up this weekend. So, yeah, thanks, guys.
Well, congratulations to Christopher White. Chris White winning here at Indianapolis. He makes now the second different winner in the playoffs, as Lake Peterson punched his ticket in last week from the road course here at Indy. He had some bad luck. Dan West Jr. with some problems. And, of course, when it's all said and done, Christopher White taking the checkered flag. Quick word from Tom Denchel Automotive Group, and Samuel and I will wrap it up in the booth when we return from Indianapolis.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
And we welcome you back to coverage. If I lean back, Samuel, if I at least try to lean back, it does try to get rid of the ghost shadow behind me. But anyhow, man, we're back inside the broadcast booth. What a fun race it was here tonight. The Brickyard 200 did not disappoint. And, man, your take of this race, and Chris White getting the win. And finally, I took your advice, your strategy, your technique, and I got it right. Yes, sir. Yes. I feel mighty happy when I'll go to bed tonight for sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where maybe I should have stuck with my own strategy instead of switching it up. I went off of what practice times we've been seeing. Obviously, what we've learned from these last 2 weeks is if you're the fastest during practice, might not mean you're going to win in the Cup Series. Got to look at the past winners of drivers that have shown that they can be quick at the certain tracks that we go to. So for some of the guys that have been quick at short tracks, all eyes on them going into next week at Iowa. But man, tonight's race was fun. This was a fun race to just watch because you saw great defensive driving from Chris White and the absolute aggression from Nata Breitzman at times. Caden Anderson being aggressive, getting to see Stephen O'Hare just willing to go 3 wide through the field, climbing his way up to third. It certainly was a good one here tonight.
Yeah, nobody can say that this was not a great race. I mean, honestly, this race surprised me and you in the outcome of the way it turned out because we thought it was going to be probably a quiet, no disrespect to the term snooze fest. Everybody just kind of riding, driving, pit stops, green flag, come to the finish, maybe a caution, but more or less we thought it was going to be a fuel mile strategy finish outcome. That did not happen the way that it did. Christopher White rolling the dice, cashing in his chips, if you will, like Indianapolis being Vegas, and he turns around and he literally holds off a hungry pack of cars and competitors coming after him to win the race. Any of those guys, Samuel, in closing in the top 5, had a shot to win that event, honestly. Chris White did some awesome driving. I wouldn't say it was blocking. I understand that Caden Anderson might be a little frustrated with the way the outcome of the finish happened, but honestly, they're racing to go to the next round of the playoffs, Samuel, and honestly, the clock is ticking with 2 races now, Iowa and Atlanta remaining to have a chance to race for a championship.
Yeah, and right now, Caden Anderson's got to be a little frustrated on the fact, he still is in a must-win scenario, and now we can add another driver to that. Stephen Paulson, didn't see him here tonight, so now going to be in a must-win scenario for that team as well. So, the points battle, it has gotten closer around where the 8th place is. But, for White, Chris White, he was that 8th driver. He was right on the bubble line. Well, now he's locked in. No pressure on him. Everyone else, though, it is just going to get more and more intense these next 2 races.
And that's why it's always fun to be a part of these events. Again, thanks again to LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. Samuel Dyer, always fun working with you, my friend. Bon voyage. We'll see you Wednesday. We'll see you Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's Monday now.
Wednesday's going to be a blast for sure.
We'll see you next Monday in Iowa. We'll see you back here at Indy on Wednesday is what I meant to say. Oh, and by the way, the S&B Cup Series playoffs are back as well on Wednesday night as well on LSR-TV. One more look at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a show. What a race. What an event. Christopher White being the first man across the yard of bricks and getting it done. And now Lake Peterson and Chris White are joining each other in the championship playoffs in the round of 8. Next week, it's on to Iowa, the Northwest Truck Series on Wednesday right here at Indianapolis for another 80 laps. It should be fun. It should be exciting. We hope that you have enjoyed the ride. As always, go online to livesimracing.com. You want to become a producer, announcer, hook us up with us at livesimracing.com and give us your information. Also, thanks to iRacing.com, motorsport simulations. And, of course, what a great time it was for Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, everybody at Rocket Media LLC in the production chair. For Greg Rent, Samuel Dyer, I'm Wesley Outland. Congratulations, Chris White, winner tonight at the Brickyard 200. Be good to one another. Thank you for watching.